You off, man? You off?
Oh, look at that sunset. Right to here. Right to
Oh,
here.
nice.
Look at that sun. I can just barely see it.
That's awesome. You got a beautiful skyline.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm gonna get this loaded up with you guys.
All right.
Gosh, Ron and Caleb had so much to share with us, so we are finally about to go into our very last episode of loading up all the pollination hives to go to California. In this last episode, I get to interview Ron and truly hear his story and how he became who he is today and the life he's built as a commercial beekeeper. It was such a good experience to go out and spend the day with them and see what being a commercial beekeeper is like, and I hope you guys have also enjoyed tagging along on the journey too. But this is the very last day of 2023. This is December 31st. Right, I almost said December 30th. Had to double check. So I am so excited for 2024. 2023 definitely brought so many learning lessons into my life, and I know many others of us too. This winter has been kind of weird, so I'm definitely going to be peeking into the beehives again sometime soon because it's been warm. This is not a normal winter or December, but anyways. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for following along on this journey in BeeFit and beekeeping. It has definitely been a wild ride thus far. So much has changed since I first started. I've grown as an individual, I've also grown as a beekeeper, and I am absolutely loving the process. And it's been so fun just learning how to edit videos and sharing that story with you guys, and it truly means the world to me that my voice even has a place in your guys' day. So as always, thank you so much. But anyways, before I even start babbling, let's just get straight into the interview with Ron. Oh, and also the sound quality for the first 5 minutes is not the best because there was a fan in the background. So just hang in there, bear with me. It gets better, I promise. And I'm working on getting microphones, I promise. So sorry, thank you. Yeah, take this road tripping.
I intended to take it down to Georgia.
Oh, okay.
That was in my last year or two.
Yeah.
But then I decided, I'm done.
Yeah.
Why take it down?
Yeah.
I didn't end up leaving it down there. So,
Okay.
Okay, how did I get into this business?
Yeah, so why bees? How'd you get into bees? Let's go all the way back to when you were a teenager. No? Farther than that?
Before I was 5 years old.
Wait, you drew this?
No.
Oh, okay, I was like, whoa.
I was not even in kindergarten. This was on my mother's bookshelf, and I would get the book out, and I'd get the willies and swim and put it back in, and it
Yeah.
just made my skin crawl.
Yeah. Really?
Really.
Okay.
And I would do that every now and then, just because I'm weird.
Yeah.
Okay, but I saved the book, and it's part of me.
Yeah.
But anyway, in doing that, here, Caleb.
Real quick, is there any way we could turn that off? Because that background noise, since you're
sure.
sitting right there, is going to be really loud.
Put this over here. No, look.
I need to get a mic. Mic would be way better.
I used to look at that every now and then and get the willies. I'll shut off in a minute.
Okay, perfect.
So, just the picture there. that made my skin crawl so bad. It just made me shudder and shiver.
Really?
You got it. So,
All kids are scared of bees, though.
I don't know if it's bees or just, I don't know. Anyway. So, I certainly then didn't want to go into religions. I didn't think I would be. But now, I have to give you a history leading up to nowadays.
Yep.
I was 5 years old. A bedtime story. My mama asked me if I wanted to ask Jesus into my heart. Well, yeah. So that was the beginning of the journey.
Yeah.
To my Ebenezer. Okay. I did not live a Christian life after that until I went through a divorce, and then I got serious. So, I was the custodial parent with my boys, and 2 boys, and we were married 19 years to the day, almost to the hour. The judge says, slap the gavel down, says it's over. So, I went down to the beach in St. Joe, watched the sun go down, I stood up on top of the driftwood that was laying there. I watched it go down again. I said, okay, God, it's tomorrow, it's you and me.
Yep.
So, fast forward 5 years, I met my wife.
I'm gonna get ya. Oh, I thought I squished it.
I met my soon-to-be wife, okay?
Yeah.
And, okay, remember the sunset now. It's important.
Okay.
So, when the judge said it was over, I said, tomorrow it's you and me, God. And I picked my first wife. I says, God, it's up to you. I'm not going there again. And unless he picks it out for me. I was going through counseling, and the counselor, her and her husband, she says, look at the woman's heart and see who's on the throne. So I was looking, you see different people that maybe that good looking gal, you think, well, maybe she's the one, just maybe.
Yeah.
But I looked at her heart. Her kids were on her throne, or alcohol, or drugs, or Lord wasn't on the throne. So when I was going out to the mailbox one day to get the mail, I opened up. There's a little insert in there, expect the unexpected. And so I says, my favorite Martian antennas went up. I don't know if you remember that one. But anyway, and I says, well, the devil sent me all kinds of counterfeits.
Yeah.
But I looked at who's on the throne in the heart. And I got another thing in the mailbox, different credit card company with the insert, same color green, everything, same script. I don't know who they're from, but it said expect the unexpected. Well, I had talked to my counselor about it. She says, you better get a confirmation. Okay. But 2 of them right in a row.
Yeah.
Hello. Okay, so I started looking. That's when the devil started sending all kinds of counterfeits. But I went into church Sunday night, one Sunday night, a little tiny church. Probably 70 people on an Easter Sunday. And it was a Sunday night. But, well, here's sitting three seats over from where I usually sit. I never saw her before in my life, but she'd been going there for quite a while. So, and she hands me the songbook to the right page over like that.
Okay, yeah.
Over 3. Oh, thank you. Thank God. I ain't touching it though. Nope. You got to work it out. People would say to me, I'd tell them what I just told you, and they said, well, you got to talk to her, Ron, in order to find out a little bit about her. Nope, I ain't gonna do it. God's got to put it together before I'll. So, all right, fast forward, I will say a month, and she came to a missionary was speaking on a Sunday night. Now, when missionaries come to the church, nobody goes because they don't want to be held responsible for what they're doing. They don't want to. I don't know if they feel guilty because they're not doing something, but they just don't show up. Well, she was there. I said, God, you got to show me your heart sometime. Like, it's coming out of the boys' room, and she come out of the sanctuary and went past the literature table for the missionary, and she picked up all the literature, tucked them into her Bible, held them, and walked out. I said, okay, God, I see your heart.
Yeah.
Now, you got to do it, because you got to put it together, because I ain't going to do it. And fast forward another month, we'll say, we knew of each other, barely. And she says, that one Sunday afternoon, she says, why don't we go out for something to eat? And she turned 9 shades of red. And she was, I don't believe I just asked you. Well, we went out to eat, and come to find out she lived a couple miles up the road.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we were going to church 10 miles that way.
Okay.
And so she had a real job. I was self-employed. Okay. She had a good car too. I had a pickup truck. Hear that, Caleb?
Yours had a purpose though.
Yeah. And so she'd come over for supper because she drove right past here going home. I didn't work, so I had to feed my kids, and so throw a feed on the table, and they'll sit down and have dinner. And she'd leave a little while after that. But anyway, we talked about everything under the sun. I mean, good, bad, and the ugly. Okay, and of course she'd ask how my day went, and I'd tell her what God had done and revealed to me, and told me what I was supposed to talk to her about that night, because everything was important.
Yeah.
And so she's from Rapid City, South Dakota, or Sturgis, the home of the Black Hills Gold, and so I called Black Hills Gold up and ordered a set of wedding rings from her hometown.
Oh my gosh.
So she's here, transplant to Michigan.
Yeah.
And so I carried the engagement rings, the full set, around with me for probably 2 weeks. I says, God, I really want a sunset. I really want a sunset. And because I had plan B, but that was plan A. And so we were going to go out that Friday night. I believe it was Friday. We were going to go. I was the normal guy thing. You ask her in front of the fireplace, and
Yeah.
that was plan B.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, but we drove down by the bluff, and it was a cloudy day like today,
Oh no.
and waves were pounding the surf, and we turned to go down to the bluff, and the sun peeked out. Just a little tiny thing there.
Yeah.
Gave me a sunset. So as she's driving, I said, quick, go down the hill, park the car, quick. Yeah. So, well, she had, well, where am I going to park? Just
Yeah.
park the car. And so we ran down the beach, and fell on my knees and asked her to marry me.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, she took my picture, not the sunset.
Yes.
We were down there for a sunset.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, so we left. She said yes, by the way.
Yeah.
We left, and we were driving to get something to eat at my Plan B location.
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she says, "Your countenance changed. What's the matter?" kind of thing. God had showed me. That was the very spot. I watched the sunset go down twice. And I says, "Tomorrow it's you and me, God."
Mm-hmm.
And he was giving me back what the enemy stole.
That is so beautiful.
Yep. And so
Wow.
I still see her heart. It hasn't changed none.
Good.
And so I was already in the bee business. Let's back up there for a while. I started my bee business, my career, in 1977. We bought the place here in 75, and I wanted to raise corn on the 10 acres down below the hill.
Okay.
And so I bought a tractor and planted corn, harvested, and there just wasn't any money in it. And in the meantime, I had bought some equipment, oiled it out, did all the correct things to sterilize it, and hung foundation in the frames and repaired them. And that was before 77. I got my first hive. I did a little bartering with a guy. He was going to move to Missouri, I believe. I went to look at his tractor stuff, and I smelled goldenrod.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know what it was. I said, "What is that smell?" He says, "It's the bees over there." I said, "Wow." He says, "I'll let you have them too if you give me the equipment so I can replace them when I get down to Missouri." So I gave him some equipment that I had, and he gave me the hive, and we put it back here right behind, and the cherry trees bloomed, and later on the guy that's renting the property brought me up the check for the cherries. He says, biggest crop I ever got, and the price is up too. And he gave me the rent money. I said, "No, I was farming the other stuff. We're good." No, he says, I didn't realize the bees pollinated and would set such a crop. And so he was just pickled pink.
Yep.
And so right after the cherries were done, we had an opportunity to rent the hive. $15 for one hive. Went down into the apples.
That's it.
That's it.
Wow.
I thought I was rich.
Yeah, really? Back then, I guess.
Yeah. So I started operating the bees as a business. And so, the next year I had 4 hives, and the next year after that I was, I think, 12. And I said, well, if I put on the back of the hillside, if I have 30 hives, 25 to 30, I'll just be walking in high cotton. And that never happened, but I did increase the hive count, I think, to 60. And I was working at the shop, started in 72 at the shop. And so I had 13 years down there. And they wasn't a good place to work. It seemed like they were moving me around, trying to get rid of me, trying to find a reason to fire me or something. I never really got a full explanation on that, but I'm sitting out there. I was a shipping and receiving clerk. I drove forklift.
Yep, I know that job. I used to do that. Yep.
And so that gives me experience for what I'm doing now.
Yes, it does.
But anyway, I'm out there banding up the parts to ship. I'm talking with the Lord. I'm saying, this seems to be like the door's closing here. And
Yeah.
The door is opening up for the bees. And I was in a quandary. I didn't really want to quit the job because you need the money. So, and so I'm banding up the parts, asking the Lord about it, and I audibly heard him speak to me. Now, believe it or not, it's he said, so you trust me more. I was the only one out on that loading dock. I turned around and looked, there was no one there. So, so you trust me more. There's some things I trusted him with, and some things I didn't, and it was a learning curve. My first marriage, and then the second one, and so, and so, you start going through the divorce. I started going down to Georgia with the bees, so I could keep them alive. But when we first started, different subject, but when it first started, it didn't matter what kind of hive you had going through the winter. Everything survived, seems like.
Really?
Yes.
Even up here in Michigan?
Yes. We could take 2 frames of bees and winter them. And
Whoa.
and so they'd come through, and you could probably split them, we'll say mid-May.
Yeah.
But what I'm going with that is, we didn't have any mites then. We varroa or tracheal, and so everything was, other than a bad queen, drone layer or something. Everything seemed like it survived. Now some of the commercial guys could, if they had 3% loss.
Oh, that's maintainable. That's fine.
Yeah, that's what they kind of shot for. But 10% was totally unreal. Yeah, that was, you must be doing something wrong. Yep. Kind of thing. So anyway, so we started wintering. But anyway, after back up. So you trust me more. That's it. So when I heard that, I said, okay, what? That's strange, I never heard from God before audibly. I just kind of have an unction. But after I got off work that following Sunday, we had a guest preacher at the church because the other guy, he was having medical issues, and someone had to fill in for him. Well, he spoke on stepping out in faith, the walls of Jericho, what the Israelites were thinking when Joshua told them, get out there, walk around the city 7 days and don't say a word. On the 7th, walk around it 7 times and blow the trumpets and shout. And so, stepping out in faith, well, that goes along with, so you trust me more. I said, well, okay, God. We put my last dollar in gas. Went and told my mother, I'm quitting my job. She was horrified.
I'm sure. What you gonna do? How are you gonna support yourself?
Yeah, I got 2 kids to raise, and so anyway, so I don't know if we're running out of time. No, we're good. So, so my Ebenezer room is a culmination of my walk of faith. It's the stone of help in the Jewish 1 Samuel 7. And so he's helped me. He's blessed me horribly much. I mean, I don't deserve that much. But anyway, so
I was wondering, have you noticed a change at all with the different sprays that farmers were using back then compared to now?
Yes. They used everything in the book back then.
Really?
That was harmful to bees, and the farmers would spray, and I'd walk up to their tractor and I'd say, you're probably killing the bees. Oh, ain't no bees out here in the sweet corn field.
Real quick,
Bees are loving it.
there's still remnants of those sprays in the soil, because I had a sample done on my bees, and they found DDD, triple D, or whatever they call it, DDT still in the soil, and that was banned 70 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
At least 50.
Wow.
Some of the stuff, the neonicotinoids, is still at almost, what, the half-life is 15 years for breakdown? Half-life.
Yeah, I've heard their dust will be hanging around in the trees, even like on leaves everywhere, that the bees can pick up.
And so, yes, so they still spray. They are a little bit smarter about it.
That's good.
Yeah,
I was
really
wondering
good.
if you guys have any run-ins with that at all with your bees. Much. Yeah.
That 1 year I lost 100 hives. We were ready to go into pollination, and it just laid them out like gravel.
Oh,
just that thick.
that's so sad to see.
And so that was a total loss. It wasn't just a little one like you had, Caleb.
We went 135.
Yeah, but I had the big loss, that deep in front.
Oh my gosh.
It's like you opened up the hive and just vacuumed everybody out.
Yeah.
Nothing in there. So now you can get sprayed and look in the hive. Yeah, you still got something to work with, and feed them and medicate them and pollen sub. So you can pull them through it usually.
Yeah.
That's why I got the room too. So
to help them so they keep that cluster size even when it starts to get kind of small.
Yeah.
Helps keep them warm or keep them alive at least.
Dormant.
Dormant. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to say hibernate. I've used that word before, but they don't hibernate.
Well, it's still
Kind
awake.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. Totally dormant. But anyway, so we got married. Back to that. We got married, and my grandson came to live with us. My 2 kids grew up and moved out, but the grandson, he come in. We were probably 5 years into our marriage, and he come in, lived with us for 5 years, and now his sister is here with us. You met her going.
Oh, okay.
And she lived with us for 10 years now, and so, But anything else you?
Yeah. So.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I was at 60 hives.
Yeah.
Okay, and I had that word from the Lord. I was actually thinking about buying it. You asked how many hives do you need to make a living?
Yeah.
One guy would tell me, he said, I know a father and son. They can run 300 hives and make a living. Another one said, that'll take 600 to make a living. And some of the bigger commercial guys say, oh no, you need 1,000. Well, it's a big investment.
Yeah.
So when I bought the guy out, I had someone in line I was asking the Lord about, and so I bought him out. He had 160. That put me up to about 2.5. And so he gave me his contracts, and away we went. Pollination contracts, honey locations. He says, yeah, they'll do 110 pound average. That year we had a huge bumper crop, and most of them was 150 pounds or more. Some of them, yeah.
Per hive.
Yes.
Woo!
Yes.
That's the dream of.
Yeah. And so, and I told him after I got done there, or after the year got done, I went back to him. I says, RW, I says, you lied about that one. He says, how's that? I says, it was a lot more than what you said. So, yeah, okay. But had some mentors mentoring me like I'm mentoring Caleb. And so I figured if a person was going to go commercial, they had to get out of the hobbyist mode. So I was being the president of the local Beekeepers Association, and I got all the commercial guys to come in and talk, even down to A.I. Root from A.I. Root, the gleanings in bee culture. He flew his plane in and spoke at one of our meetings. And so amateurs teach amateurs to be amateurs.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to be an amateur. I didn't want that. And so I aligned myself with good mentors that were commercial. So, but I quit my job in 85. Got my first hive in 77, quit my job in 85 after I heard from the Lord. And it's been about 38 years, full time.
Time sure flies.
Yeah. But you got to devote way too much time. I was up to 1,500 hives that I was operating, mostly by myself. One part-time guy would help on a will call basis.
Yeah.
And so then there was a couple of guys that just wanted to hang out with me, and so I let them.
Yeah,
good,
of course.
Good company. You know,
Yeah.
So go along.
Yeah, definitely. That's impressive for one person. How did you split your time to do all of that? 1,500.
Well, we had 600 of our own, and we got 2 semis in from one from South Georgia, one from Florida, and we put them in northern Michigan around Cadillac area, and we put supers on them.
Okay.
And go back, pull the honey off, send them back down there. So it wasn't the intense management that would be the year round that we, and of course we divide the honey with them.
Yep.
So they put the management in, I put the locations in, and extracted the honey and sent them a check. So then I sold the honey. So
yeah, whatever works. Yeah, so you're saying you used to also drive, so you'd go all through Michigan and then all the way down to Georgia, and that was your typical route. Wow. So spending winters, you mentioned you sent your hives down to Georgia then to overwinter then for a minute there.
91.
Okay.
91, 92, we started sending them down there. And we started in Augusta. And we had a friend, some of his boxes are still branded out there that went down the road. And he says, yeah, you can use my location, his property down there. And so then we branched out and got our own locations, contacts, and but he gave me the first foothold in I think it's the town is Sandersville or Wren's, I don't remember which one. But anyway, so we were down there until somebody stole some bees from me, and so I moved undercover and where he wouldn't find them, and had to send him a long letter saying I forgive him, but we're done.
Yeah.
And his only son dropped dead of a heart attack. And I says, God, you didn't have to do that for him.
Yeah. Wow.
And so I sent him a sympathy card.
Of course.
And, But so then we were on our way down one time. I loaded the 2 semis here. I think I had Dan load the second, but I was following the first one down there, and the motor on the truck went out. I was in Chattanooga. And I called Ray Crosby. That's the only one I'm going to give you a mention on. And I called Ray. I says, Ray, I got problems. He says, what's that? I said, I got a semi in front of me, semi behind me, and the truck broke down. Motor went out. He said, send them down here and we'll take care of them like they're on our own. And so I didn't go back to Augusta. We started going to Omega, Georgia. Well, the names of God is Alpha and Omega. I said, God, that's the end of my beekeeping career. He didn't answer me. This summer, we kept getting swarms moving in the back lot here. I'm talking about retiring. I'm going to retire. And my wife says, I don't think you're supposed to retire yet. because he's sending you all these swarms.
Mhm.
I mean, even up into September.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's late.
Yeah, we got it in the room back there. And
Good.
we in August we had swarm move in, absolutely huge. And they had 5 frames. Okay. Yeah. Maybe they'll make the box, you know. You can put them indoors. They made the box. I said, well, maybe they're going to need another box. Put another box on there. They filled it. It's on the truck. 2 boxes, top to bottom, bees.
That's amazing.
Heavy as lead. And
Wow.
so that was in August. I'm thinking, wow, what are we not doing right in our beekeeping career? But anyway.
Do you remember the first time you saw varroa in a colony?
No, not really.
No? Or when you first started noticing them, at least? When they started kind of causing a problem?
I didn't log it in.
Didn't?
No.
Okay.
I knew there was a problem, and
yeah.
You know, the tracheal mite was the first year we tried to winter indoors. Tracheal mite hit, and of course we didn't know what we were doing, and I had 100 of them inside my garage, and took them out and came back to them. They were all gone.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
See, I haven't heard much about tracheal mites then. I didn't realize they were that bad.
They were. I started using the carniolan breed of bees because they had supposedly had stiffer nose hairs and the tracheal couldn't crawl in.
Oh.
So my one vendor, Kona Queen, out of Hawaii, that's all I order from them.
Okay.
Get 300 plus a year.
Yeah.
300 queens a year. Carniolans.
Is that what you still get today?
Yep.
From Hawaii? Wow. Okay.
Carniolans with stiff nose hair, whether I need it or not, but they love making propolis.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So we had a huge problem with small hive beetles this year.
Yes.
What do you do to get rid of them?
Caleb, go get some. I don't have any with me. You know where they're at? Yep. Okay. Go get some, a couple of, it's ticking for quilting.
Okay.
Quilting batting.
Yeah.
It's a polyester, and you cut it in little squares. You buy it in a big roll or a few feet, whatever you want.
Yep.
And the beetle can crawl in, but with the wings like they are, they can't crawl out.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, we're definitely have to try that next year because we had I never took small hive beetles seriously, but then they started taking out big colonies, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should actually pay attention.
Well, they don't usually take out big colonies. Just they'll get kind of started in a weaker one, or one that's maybe bad on poor on a queen quality. Yeah. And so evidently they can smell that. Don't hold me to it. I don't know, but it seems to be prevalent in one colony, and the next one next to it is okay. They seem to center on certain ones. Why? Yeah. Probably. Oh. No. Okay. When I was down in Georgia. Yeah. Okay. My first year, I think I was down there. I was down there illegally, or at least maybe I thought I was. I don't know. I didn't know the laws then. I just had a guy drive my bees down there. I went with him, and we had 3 relatively medium, not large trucks, but medium trucks. Yeah. And it's a polyester.
Oh, that looks different this time.
I can give you the part number on that too from Joanne Fabrics. Okay. But where was it?
Going to Georgia.
Yes, and so I'm hiding back there behind the pine trees. Okay. Anyway, I was working
hiding behind the trees.
I was working my bees back there, and this guy in a white suit come walking back there.
Uh-oh.
And I said,
Oh.
I thought it was maybe an inspector. So what are these doing? He says, golly, I didn't think I'd ever see somebody of this caliber around here. Well, he introduced himself, and he's 15 years old, in love with his bees. I don't know, he had 50 hives down the street a ways.
Wait, at 15 years old?
50, no, it was maybe a dozen or 15, whatever.
Oh,
He's
okay. 15
years old. He says, I love my bees. He says, I said, you got a car, drive? He says, later on in the conversation, nope. He says, I said, girlfriend? Nope, I love my bees. He says, do you know Keith Delaplane? I says, I've heard the name. He's the leading entomologist in Georgia Tech University, the Georgia State University.
Mm-hmm.
He is the man in the total area.
Yeah.
And I says, yeah, I've heard the name. He says, yep. He says, I want the man's job. 15 years old.
He's confident.
Yeah, and he's telling me he's had done some 4-H projects for 4-H, and he's telling me how the DNA is all spliced in together, and he's using a $40,000 computer there to do his research on, get this, synthetic growth hormones for queen bees.
What?
15 years old.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He says, I want the man's job.
Yeah, did he make it? Where is he at today?
Jamie Ellis from Florida State.
I've heard that name before.
Yes.
That is awesome.
Yes.
I believe he's on 2 Bees in a podcast.
Yep.
Oh, really?
I believe so.
Okay.
So, it's been a journey,
Yeah, for sure.
and Lord has brought me this far by faith.
Yeah, yes he has.
Through thick and thin, ups and downs. Years I had 600 hives during the winter. I come through the winter in Georgia under 200.
Mm-hmm.
So, ups and downs, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're practically a farmer.
Yeah.
Every
yeah.
season's going to be different.
Yeah.
Always got to be able to pivot.
Yeah. But,
Okay.
and I hope you don't lose your camera.
Oh no, we're not.
He now goes by
Definitely.
Dr. Jamie
Yeah,
Ellis.
Dr. Jamie
that's
Ellis.
awesome.
And I says to him, I says, am I supposed to call you doctor or what? And he says, no. He says, you're a friend. You can call me Jamie.
Have you talked to him since?
Yes, I have.
Oh, that's
I
great.
lost
Okay.
track of him for probably 10 plus years.
Uh-huh.
Well, he went to Africa to learn the African bees.
Mm-hmm.
And he met his wife there, met a girlfriend, soon to be wife. They got married, had kids. He come back.
Mhm.
Yes, he come back, I think, directly to Florida Tech.
Yeah.
And he had an article in the journal, and I forgot how I tracked him down, but the ABJ, and I says, I'm trying to get a hold of Jamie Ellis, and somebody put me in contact. I called him. I says, you want me in there, or you?
What?
It's my Ebenezer room. Ebenezer is not a word that's associated with anything but Scrooge. But it's actually a Jewish word for stone of help. When chapter 7, 1 Samuel chapter 7, the Israelites, Samuel was offering up sacrifice for the repentant Jews, that the Israelites that were had come back to the Lord, and the Philistines were looking over the hill saying, they're all in one place, let's get them. But God intervened, and the battle was the Lord's. And so Samuel built an altar, a pile of stones, and called it his Ebenezer. Now, it's the stones of help, because God helped the Israelites in their battle. And so, but in a more what NIV or something like that, one of the Bible translations, and this is partly my translation too. It's the Lord has brought me this far by faith. Hey, Emily, I've got some notes here that you'll probably want to splice in where this point of the interview you had when we went home and I told my mother I was going to quit my job. So you can splice it in there and pick it up from there. The next story is just a short that you can splice in there. Anyway, we went home, told my mother I was quitting my job. The folks were flabbergasted and panicked, but about a week later, I'm going to say, a pastor friend of mine came around and we talked for a while, and he found out I quit my job or going to quit my job and starting a beekeeping career. And he gave me a word of advice. It wasn't don't do that, but it was a word of advice. He said to me, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. Notice the key word there is trust in the Lord. Also in the Bible it says, in their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Another thing is that's trust. The whole thing is trust. Going through my divorce, I was very at a low time. For those who are going through divorce, you know what I'm talking about. Time of despair and all of that. I was walking from my house out to the pole barn and just feeling bad. I was kissed by God. He gave me I was walking with my head hanging down. Something caught my eye. It was the northern lights. It was awesomely beautiful. I think that was the first time I'd ever seen them. My spirits went from the molly grubs up to the heavenlies. I couldn't. It was just so special. He did that for me. Walk of faith and trust. After I met Donna, we were up on a working date. We were bringing the bees home from northern Michigan, and while we were loading or on the way home, we hadn't gotten on the interstate yet, and we both had a kiss from God on our way home. The magnificent display of the northern lights. Again, we were kissed by God. You can't orchestrate. You can't put together. You know, you can show up at someone's door and say, with a dozen roses and say, let's go out for dinner. No. This was a kiss by God. You can't orchestrate that. Another thing is trust. One time we were out dating, and we were sitting out on the South Pier on Lake Michigan watching the sun go down. Not far from where I said it was you and me, God, tomorrow, and where I asked her to marry me. But we were out on the end of the pier watching the sun go down, sun go down, and well, as the sun starts setting, we start seeing, yeah, it's starting to set. There is a bunch of kids on the top of the pier. Now, who'd have thunk that they were from the Seventh-day Adventist College Church, the a cappella choir. As the sun started going down, they started singing praises to the Lord. Who could have orchestrated that? Another trust in the Lord. I had okay, let's back up a little bit. The Bible says He knew me before the foundations of the world. All of my days are written in His book. When my time on earth is over, it's in there too. The paths I have to go down. Each and every one of them, all written in His book. I had a stroke about 5 years ago. Left me with a handicap of speech and some motivation. But I waited 6 days to go to the doctor, to the hospital. They kept me overnight. The doctor assessed the damage, and he said, "Now you got to go see your primary physician." And I got there, and she says, "You're gonna need a note for your employer." I said, "I'm self-employed." And she checked me over, and my reflexes and my muscles and all of that. And she says, "You need a note to go back to work." And that's when I said I was self-employed truck driver, because this had happened in the winter about this time 5 years ago, and there's snow on the ground. And she says, "What do you do?" I said, "I drive truck. I got to go down to Georgia and work my bees." And 9 days since my stroke, I was in the truck going to Georgia. Only God could have done that. The doctor, he gave me some little pills. He says, "You take these pills." He said, "Because the next one might be the big one." What I learned, all my days are written in the book. If God chooses something like that for me to go down, He's got it, not me. I'm okay with it. Trust. And so, anyway, we did. He says, "You're driving down there." She said, "You're driving down there." She says, "You'll get tired real easy." I said, "Okay." She says, "If you get tired, you put in." It took me 3 days to do a 2-day drive, but when we got down there, it was good to get back to work. And as you can see, my speech is just fine. Only God. Beekeeping this long, you learn to the good, the bad, and the ugly, the good years, the bad years, the things that God has filtered for you to walk through. And one of them was the crash with the forklift. A woman was coming down the road in the approximation of 80 miles an hour, went around the semi that I was unloading and struck me and spun me around in the forklift. She wrecked the car into the semi, and the police wrote it up as it was our fault and not hers. The speed always trumps, to my knowledge, always trumps the any other situations that might have occurred. And anyway, I was all right. I seen her coming, and right out of the corner of my eye, I went out, picked up a pallet on the forklift. she was a quarter mile down the road or more, and I picked it up and started to back up, and she was on me. And you know, after driving the forklift for 30 plus years, I know my limits. You know, at the top of the hill, you know, I've got time. But she sued me and the driver of the truck, and of course my insurance company paid for it, but it really messed with my mind for quite some time, and I had to, well, I had to forgive her, and seen that there was some good in it. And again, it was trusting the Lord in situations we have no control over. So anyway, fixed the forklift, broke the forks off, threw them 90 feet down the road, and busted the axle, popped the tire, and like I said, and spun that 4,000-pound machine 180 degrees. But anyway, trusting the Lord. So everything is Father filtered. It didn't take God by surprise. Where I got hit was right in front of my house, and the impact actually shook the house. My wife felt it inside. So anyway, John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world, he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him would not perish, but have everlasting life." So in conclusion to this video of our walk with Jesus, the Father, the trust, the like I showed in my Ebenezer room, our rock of faith. I would like to, well, the beekeeping career and the walk of faith, I would like to, for you to meet my Jesus, because when we leave here, we're going somewhere. And I had some beekeeping friends of mine said, if I get there first, I'll put a little sign. Now this is just us talking, but it was cementing a relationship. He says, I'll put a sign by the tree of life next to the waters, the river of life, and it'll say, beekeepers this way. So, that bit of humor, but if you're interested in my Jesus, I got a little prayer here I'll have to read to you. It says, Father, I believe that Jesus is the Son of God. He was crucified for my sins and died and buried and rose again in 3 days. Please come into my heart and life. Change me, Jesus, from the inside out. Be the Lord of my life. I repent and turn from my sins. I confess with my mouth that Jesus is the Lord of both heaven and earth. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. So if you prayed that prayer with me, tell somebody about it. Put a little happy heart on the remarks on the video. I'll check in and see how many is there. But this is the story of my Ebenezer, my rock of faith. So you've heard it all. Thank you. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May your face shine upon you and give you peace.